Nationally, inventory fell another 2.5% week over week. And this week in front of Congress, Fed Chair Jerome Powell did his very best to spook the markets to make housing completely unaffordable for the average person. All this and more on this week's Peterson Report, a weekly digest of local and national real estate news and statistics, and a few of my own opinions sprinkled in about them. First, the February numbers are out for American Canyon. As I've been saying since at least the fall of 2019, we do need more homes for sale, plain and simple. Some of the difference in numbers that we see year to year, really, they appear to be dramatic because, generally speaking, we have such a small sample size. For example, there were 28.6% fewer listings this past February than last year. Another way to say this is that there were 4 fewer new listings. Of course, if we had more inventory, these numbers wouldn't fluctuate so dramatically. So, hey, are you thinking of selling? Why or why not? Seriously, I'd love to get your feedback. But moving forward, there are 14 homes on the market, which is fairly consistent with where we've been since the beginning of the pandemic. The median list price is sitting at about $797,000, which is up from last year's $668,000. Median sales price for February was at $625,000, which is down both year over year and month over month, but only 3 homes sold last month. So that's I've been saying for a couple of weeks, comparing this year to last year just doesn't work. We're not looking at apples to apples. It's more like looking at apples and muskrats, right? The two markets, there aren't the same species. But the fact is that the local market is humming along. Homes that are priced well, regardless of where they are along the spectrum, are going into contract within a week or two, even with 7% interest rates. My little listing over here on Carmel Drive had multiple offers and were in contract in less than a week. 5 Stetson over in Napa Square, same deal. The opportunities to purchase are still there. You just have to be nimble and quick, or both. Taking a quick look, though, from the 30,000-foot view, last week it looked like the pace of reduced inventory nationally might be slowing, but that was obviously incorrect. Last year, this week really marked the bottom of the trough for inventory, but that doesn't appear to be the case today. The main difference is that as sellers and their agents saw interest rates slowly start to rise, there was a rush to get on the market. 1 year ago, the interest rate was at 4.24%. Today, according to bankrate.com, it stands at 7.13%. As a result, potential sellers appear to be behaving opposite of 2022. Rather than putting their homes on the market, they appear to be staying put, which is both exacerbating and accelerating the drop in inventory. The data hawks expect that low inventory will continue into the coming weeks. My experience from the past couple of years tells me that the spring market really is shifting and it's now almost more of a summer market, and that we will start to see a modest increase in inventory, at least regionally, at the end of April or possibly even the beginning of May. Nationally, new listings are still down by about 8,000 from last year. But what's interesting is that a little over 26% of these new listings went into contract within the first week. This is a strong number and is tracking with what we're seeing locally. Nevertheless, you will likely be hearing about continued declining home prices in both the national and regional media. They're going to make it sound like the sky is falling when it's not. Home prices are not falling, and there is no impending crash. At this point, and knock on wood, there do not appear to be any external catastrophic events that point to a huge wave of inventory coming to the market this year. Should probably bite my tongue too, because the data and experts that I have access to all point to a soft landing type of recession with minimal job losses. Although these job losses are mostly through attrition and not necessarily rehiring open positions. There is still significant demand in most price ranges, even as the Fed continues to jack up rates. Chairman Powell's almost ridiculous testimony in front of Congress this week, coupled with strong job numbers, have helped to push the interest rate solidly above 7%. Now, the Fed has its quarterly meeting next week. Most of those who are in the know expected them to really only raise rates by 25 basis points, or about 0.25%. But after this week's strangely hawkish remarks by Powell, the future markets are now leaning towards a more aggressive interest rate hike. likely 50 basis points. This would undoubtedly keep interest rates above 7% for a while. And while not unheard of, it would be a stark departure from recent precedent to raise rates so quickly without waiting to see whether or not the last one worked first. I'm hoping, sincerely hoping, that cooler heads prevail. As Paul Krugman likes to point out, there is anywhere from a 6 to 12-month lag in the data that's being used to figure out where the economy is headed. While many liberal economists, including Krugman, really downplayed the threat of inflation last year and have since admitted to being very wrong, a growing Greek chorus of those same economists, however, are starting to become concerned about hewing too hard in the other direction, which is what I think may be happening. Chair Powell has been fairly upfront about wanting to slow down the housing market, especially as hedge fund investors plundered and pillaged almost everything that was affordable. It really did make some sense then. Unfortunately, the Fed's actions didn't just slow down the housing market, it virtually stopped it in its tracks. I do believe that the goal was admirable. Home prices are largely unaffordable to significant swaths of individuals throughout the country, and particularly here in California, where the average household income to afford a home, to purchase a home, is $200,000. The problem is that the increase in mortgage rates has only helped housing to become less affordable since it did nothing to bring home prices down. The fact is, the only thing that will really bring down home prices is increased inventory. But it has to be an increase and a mix of inventory: condos, townhomes, small single family homes, and other more mid-market style homes. Current state and local policies make it almost prohibitive to provide this type of affordable housing for sale. But I'm going to get to that another time, because for right now, not all is lost. New construction in Watson Ranch and out in Cordelia and Fairfield and everybody else in the surrounding areas will continue to help temper home prices by significantly increasing inventory over the next 3 to 7 years. Also, lenders have become increasingly flexible and creative with their products, and so are sellers for that matter. They recognize the problems. So many sellers are offering incentives to help buyers buy down interest rates and or credits toward closing costs. Lenders are offering 3-2-1 programs where the mortgage rate starts at a lower rate and jumps up gradually over time so that a borrower can slowly acclimate to a larger payment, or hopefully even be able to time the market and refinance at a lower rate. So that's all for the Peterson Report this week. I hope that you stay dry and warm, and I'll see you all on the flip side.